Hello, I'm geographica, and behind me is a map of the world, right? Except no, actually, that's a map of a Minecraft server which is launched fairly recently and attempts to be a cross between geography and diplomacy and war, all kind of recreated on one giant server. And as a side result of that, they decided to recreate the Earth on a 1 to 1,000 scale. What you're seeing behind me is actually a map of this server where you can see in real time where anything is. They've painstakingly recreated pretty much everywhere. Look at any region, and you can see it's here in Minecraft because it is a faithful, like I said, 1 to 1,000 recreation of the map, and even major cities are placed in the form of villages. Like, oh yeah, here's Toronto, for instance. It's a small village that hasn't been claimed yet, but it's just this amazing example of a side tool. Like, this is just an online tool you can use to see where you are on the server at any given point in time, because right now, for example, we're in Panama, so let's explore Panama, let's explore the world, and let's show you this server, because it's one of the most insane things I've seen, and it might be one of the most bizarre things you see today at least, so let's dive into it. And let's just start by mentioning the fact that if you want to join, there's a Discord that's recommended if you want to dive into it, because it's a bit complex. There's also this server link right here if you want to just hop right into it. It uses an IP, so keep that in mind as you do your stuff. And yeah, let's mention the fact that we're in Panama right now, so you can see it's got that kind of Central American style. This is very much a work in progress. Everything's fairly recently launched, so you can see how the cities are just starting to happen, because again, everything has to be placed by hand, block by block, mostly, for the most part in survival. I'm here in creative to make things easy. But you can see how this server is pretty much done entirely in survival, which is impressive when you see things like, oh yeah, we're in Panama. What's Panama famous for? The Panama Canal. Recreated here. Again, he actually, if I'm not mistaken, dug out this entire place inside Minecraft and made it a part of his territory. Look at this. He soared through the world. What was previously terrain has been dug through. The Panama Canal is already here in Minecraft. And that's kind of funny by itself. Like, oh yeah, so we made the Panama Canal, put a Panama flag here, made it so that now if you're on boats, you can get around the world much faster, because again, it's a very big world. Even at 1 to 1,000 scale, it's still 20,000 blocks to go all the way to the other side of the world. But here's the other interesting thing about this, in my opinion. To expand the territory that Panama needed, the sovereign nation, they've actually allied with a few people within the US, and I just think that's like hilarious that like so many things recreate themselves here in Minecraft. And yeah, fun facts of Toycat right there. Panama Canal right here in Minecraft. So someone saw that the map was lacking a key canal, and they just went ahead and built it. And I think that's funny by itself, but how about I hop in a plane and I show you something else that's funny? Because I should mention, this game is pure vanilla on the client end. However, there are some things baked into the server, like planes, for example, because obviously getting around is going to be crazy hard if you don't have some form of transport. So yeah, we're going to get into a plane, we're going to try and fly, and we're going to go to another part of the world maybe. And here's the cool thing. So again, this is a plane, it vaguely works. It's a little bit janky, but again, when you do these things in vanilla, they're going to be at least a little bit janky. I'm really hoping we don't crash into a tree right here. That's a common thing in the Amazon, by the way. A lot of pilots just kind of go missing because of how rough the landing strips are. Fun facts, it's like it. I guess that's actually the opposite of a fun fact, that a lot of pilots go missing. But no, what we're going to do now is we can actually fly, not only into Panama if we want to, but also to any other part of the world. So when you hear that there's a server based in the world, Panama might not be the first place you want to check out. Instead, you might want to check out other parts of the planet. So while we fly, I'll actually show you what it looks like on the online tool, because there's an online tool where you can just see what's happening on the server at any given point in time, separate to the game. So you might recall this tool right here that we're using at the very start of the video. We can use it to track not only, oh god, my plane's going down, but we can use this tool right here to track exactly where we are, where we're going, and what's happening. I'm about to crash into the ocean, but we can look at that tool and say, oh yeah, there's me, just left the shores of Panama, about to hit, what is this, like the Dominican Republic or the island of Hispaniola. It's not separated into two countries, but like, oh yeah, there's like a Central Caribbean country over there. Look how interesting that is. Should we go check it out? So yeah, this is Jamaica. It has one person in there total. It's 2 weeks old. Again, super new server. And it doesn't look like there's actually anything to check out over there. If I'm not mistaken, it looks like it's just like a capital, or maybe like, not even a village, just like a claimed area right there. So, I mean, we could invade if we wanted to. I was going to invade, but as a British person, I feel like you're not allowed to recommend invading so many countries. Especially Jamaica, like. Let's not take the empire just yet. Let's instead show you some other territories, like again, Hispaniola here. So yeah, New Spain is just ahead of us. We can now switch over just over to Minecraft. So New Spain is just ahead of us. We can head just over to Minecraft, and we can show you how, like, oh yeah, here it is in real life too. It's so cool to me to have this tool for any server, but for a server that's based on the Earth, again, as someone who loves looking at maps, it's cool to see that, wow, yeah, it took me a long time to get here. That was a lot of traveling. Obviously it's cut for the video because you don't want to see me fly a plane for just under 10 minutes, but it's still super fascinating. And oh, you can see here, they've got a base set up. Like, they're obviously not in the building phase yet. It's a new Spain. It's not already developed Spain or already independent, because we're doing quite well now, Spain. This is brand new Spain that they're starting to set, to make here with some cocoa bean farms and some stuff. You can see someone has their legit survival base here and a beacon apparently, so they've killed the wither. But like, that's crazy interesting, right? That every single country on this map is either a person or multiple people kind of working together to make a base, and then those bases don't always have to be as rough as this or as new as Panama. We can see things that are much more advanced, if we hop back in our plane at least. We can also go much further afield, such as here in Europe. So this right here is the Dutch Empire. It's one of the smaller countries in Europe. I mean, again, you can see how, oh, it looks like Germany's invaded Poland again. Oh, they always just do that, don't they? You can see how France is a bit smaller than normal, and you can see how, oops, it looks like there is no separation between the UK and Ireland for some reason. Like, you can see how there's this interesting thing where different countries are developing, with some of the bizarrest examples being the Austrian Empire. Bosnia is actually one of the biggest, countries here. Look how much of Turkey it controls for some reason. I mean, I guess revenge for past or something like that. But yeah, well, anyway, my point here is we're here in, the Netherlands in Europe, which is a bit more developed in general than, obviously, Central America. And you can see how these people really love the Netherlands. I assume they're Dutch people. They've even got the old-style Netherlands flag as opposed to the new one. It's nice stuff. But yeah, anyway, let's see what we've got going on here. The king is allowed to bypass these building rules. Oh, we've got a monarchy going on here, do we? So we've got do not steal, lie, or grief. Good rules. Respect the king, sure. Hate Belgium is one of the rules to be in the Netherlands. Again, it's very accurate, these servers are, I tend to find. But yeah, you can see how this is a city which is much further along in the making. They've done a lot of really impressive stuff here. I think anyway, like, again, given this is for the most part a survival server, it's like, yeah, there is some really good stuff here, including a giant wall around them. Because one of the things that you might assume by the fact that, I mean, Germany has invaded Poland, or the fact that every country is slightly differently sized, is there is in fact a kind of strategy game behind everything you're seeing here. This isn't just, oh yeah, you get to claim where you want and you get to build peacefully. No. This server has war, and it has a bit more than war. It has planes, and it even has guns if that's what you want. So, this is my diamond axe and slasher and magnum apparently. But like, yeah, this game does actually have war. It has diplomacy, it has guns, it has all those sorts of things. And yeah, as a result of that, because war is a thing you don't want your territory to be taken over, we have situations like this where they've got cannons on their walls, and they've really put a lot of effort into defending their country, because 1 to 1,000 scale might make you think that, like, wow, you just travel like 8,000 blocks to get from Port of Spain to here, right? But the thing is, Europe at a 1 to 1,000 scale puts a lot of countries in a precarious position. So for example, as soon as you've left the Netherlands, you immediately are in Belgium. Again, countries quite close. Belgium is a lot less developed than the Netherlands. I mean, I'll stick to the Dutch Empire rule of hating Belgium, because all they have is one tank and one slightly badly put together building. Again, I think they're a much smaller country with just one person in charge as opposed to 3 or 4. It takes a long time to get stuff properly going. But yeah, it's super interesting that the game lets you know which country you're in. And if you're in a country, you have to follow their rules. You need to get permission before you can build there. If you do anything besides that, it's going to count as an act of war, which is generally a thing you don't do. So yeah, you can also see how just over here, there's the German Empire. Their capital's all the way in Königsberg, which is definitely a really tactical place to put it, all the way over here, right? Like, this is Königsberg, I believe. But yeah, you can see how, like, oh yeah, that is a clever thing to do. And you can see how the German Empire, they're really serious about invading countries, because what's this? Oh, it looks like Denmark is not an independent country. It's a part of Königsberg. And in fact, this is one of the crazy things about this. If you invade a country, if you take over their capital city, you get to keep all of their territory. So, for example, if I show you the game again, you can see how, oh yeah, here we are in Copenhagen, everyone's favorite Danish city. I mean, if we're being honest, one Danish city, and it's Copenhagen. You might not even know Copenhagen, but everyone's favorite and or only known Danish city. It belongs to the Germans now. It looks like they're building a German flag there slowly, or like you can see it's a nice little river town. They were clearly being nice and starting to build things by themselves, and then the Germans invaded. Oh, there's apples on this server. What a goofy thing. Oh, it's a head. Those are some weird apples. I guess they took the heads of the Danish people, put them in the tree, and now they have a really nice Danish person head tree. That's a little bit concerning. But yeah, you can see how countries can expand and grow, not only by invading other countries, again, I mean, that's the German way of doing things, right? You can also expand just by placing a city or your flag down on another continent. So the Dutch have this little part right here, for example. I mean, already colonizing Indonesia, perfect recreation of real life. Surprisingly enough, the British have not placed their flag over places. They have not started claiming random land. So good job, Britannia. Go you. Fucking that stereotype. But no, yeah, more seriously, you can claim territory in those ways, but also as you get more people, your territory can expand. So if we look at a one-person country, this right here, you can have a maximum of 500 chunks. I think Macedonia has lost all its territory over here, and now it exists in Libya or something. But yeah, you can see how, looking on the map, it's like, oh yeah, here is Macedonia. It's got one person, one officer and one member, so they're quite small. But then you see the bigger countries, even if they haven't invaded somewhere else, and that's because 4 people in Italy. But if we look at Britannia, for example, they have 7 people. That's why they managed to claim, it looks like they got the Faroe Islands, right? Yep, they've taken the Faroe Islands, they've taken the Hebrides, they've taken Ireland as well. You know, eventually they're probably going to take Iceland and Greenland, and that's because of the fact that they have a lot of people. So yeah, there's an interesting thing on the server where it's both a game of getting as many people to join you, so you can spread out your territory, make more cities, etc., but it's also a game of invading other countries, and that's why you see countries like Bosnia, which got strong by having a lot of people and then invading all their neighbors. And that's why you see countries like Bosnia all the way down there, which got strong by having a lot of people, you know, 12 people in there, but then also by invading all of their neighbors. And yeah, let's head over to Bosnia actually, because they are one of the strongest factions on the server right now. So yeah, you can see how Bosnia is much more industrialized and actually covered in builds and cities and various towns and settlements, because there's a lot of people working on it, even got the ports going and stuff like that. And if we look at it in the game as well, you can see how the exact same thing applies. This is, I believe it's meant to be Sarajevo, but I'm not even sure. Like, I presume it is the capital city of Bosnia, but it's a huge city with just like huge giant offices for some reason, where they even have like a mini UN or like an embassy or something. All the major powers come to Bosnia in this alternate universe. I mean, things have taken a sharp turn for the worse, it seems, on that regard. But you can see how, like, oh yeah, there's a lot of interesting things going on here, where they've basically, you know, they've got the most resources, they've got the most everything on the server, and therefore they have nice cities, as well as having a lot of territory, as well as making all the other European countries fear them, which, again, I think is an interesting take on these things. I do have to say, though, like, for all the really good things that Bosnia has clearly done on the server, or maybe bad things it's done, question mark, this is the worst recreation of a Bosnian flag I think I've ever seen. Like, it's you know, it's the closest you can get to an accurate Bosnian flag in that size, but, like, Bosnia's flag just doesn't convert to Minecraft. That's a fact we need to accept, or we get monstrosities like this. Like, okay, guys, if you're gonna make a Soviet flag, or an EU flag, or a Bosnia flag, you need more than 5x5 to do it, or you just make something that looks like a kid put some macaroni on a piece of paper, and then some of it got wet, and some of it's covered in... Maybe we shouldn't finish that sentence. But you can see how Bosnia expands crazy in every direction. There's a lot of Bosnia to explore. There's this over here, for example. Then if we head further inland, you can see how there's even more cities, like, I assume Zagreb is just there to the thing. And then, oh, there's another big city, Kotor, I want to say. There's a lot of Balkan cities. I'll be honest, I don't know them all. But I think we're heading in the direction of Bucharest. And I know you'd probably think, like, oh, Romania, independent country. No, Bosnia's invaded it. It is a part of the Bosnian Empire now. And I find that hilarious, personally. Like, there's so many countries and cities, you know, their real-life territory that's inside Bosnia. But it's not the only strong country on the server. So this right here is Mittelafrika, which is a former German colony. Very clear that it's former. They're not an exiled government. They do not have claims in Germany. But you can see how, because a lot of countries are trying to claim, I guess, their home turf, like, oh yeah, you want to be Spain if you're Spanish. You want to be Finland if you're Finnish. You want to be Northern Norway. Oh no, that's just Sweden. You want to be Nordica, or you want to be Sweden, or you want to be wherever you're naturally from. So there's not many African people who play Minecraft. However, the former German colony of Mittelafrika, again, it's a made-up place, but they're expanding crazy fast. And although they're not quite as big as Bosnia, you know, like, Bosnia's not is pretty much unrivaled right now. You can see how Mittelafrika really well developed, actually. It's almost like Wakanda levels. I haven't watched Black Panther, but I think that reference makes sense, right? They've even got nether portals, which, pretty wild, right? But yeah, as it turns out, Mittelafrika, one of their key tips to success, is staying good friends with Germany and Austria. Again, both major German-speaking powers in Europe. And yeah, as a result of like basically staying under the radar, they have a huge territory with huge farms, it seems too, of cocoa bean variety, a cactus variety. Like we've got farms of all sorts going on here, and yeah, it's like a sleeping power. And the reason I'm referencing all these countries and the cool things they can do is because this server has the ability for countries to wage major wars on each other, and it doesn't happen all the time. It's like a major event when it does happen, but when you do fight a war, it's up to the like the losing power to pay most of the costs to both the winning power and for their own stuff that's destroyed. So it's very, very key that you don't get invaded, but also you want to have something nice for when you're not invaded too, right? Like there's a war element, a geography, like a rebuilding element, and also there's diplomacy all mixed down there at once. It sounds crazy, but then you start to realize like, oh yeah, in the context of this, it does make some sense. And yeah, it's cool to see a country that is fictional like Mittelafrika alongside very much real countries like the Netherlands or like the UK, Panama, etc. And yeah, it shows that this server stays true to the key Minecraft principle. Because when I first heard about it, I was like, oh, so you're role-playing a little bit? That's, role-playing in some context makes sense. I play D&D as the next person, but like role-playing against the mechanics of Minecraft seemed a bit weird to me. But no, it's open-ended. Do whatever you want. Start your own country. Take over the world if you really want to. Kill all the undesirables in your border if you want to go a bit Nazi on this. Like, that's fine. Do that if you like. But if you want to get people on your side, it's all about diplomacy. If you want to not be invaded, all about diplomacy. It's, it's fun to make a recreation of something that is live for everyone to see, both in the game itself and on the map. And to show you that, like, it's not just fun and games on those levels, I just wanted to show you some of the plugins they have, because, again, even though my gun is out of ammo, it's very sad. I wanted to show you some other things that aren't. So I'm in Mexico City, and I don't know if the admin just doesn't like it or what, but he's given me permission to bomb it a little bit. So this is a minigun that has pretty predictable responses, actually. Oh, Jesus, you can really spam with this thing. It's got 200 on the clip, that makes sense. This is an AWP, which allows you to ADS, and we can now snipe these villagers if we want. Oh, look at that. It's a one-shot if you kill anything to the head with a weapon, so... Oh, we're out of ammo. We have to reload. So that's kind of cool. We've got an MK19. I don't even know what this is. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's that's quite a serious thing. It's an explosive weapon, it seems. And then we've, of course, got the Fat Man. This is a nuke. These are very hard to come by in games. However, we have to give it a whirl, right? On this Sphinx, which is in Mexico for some reason. The gun doesn't blow up damage, but it does a lot of damage. Like, it killed... So even though the gun doesn't blow up buildings, it did a lot of damage to those villagers. And I reckon that we can find something that will damage some things. Because we got planes, we got helicopters, hover bikes, tanks, and submarines. All of those things sound fun by themselves. But I feel like we've got to focus on the tank, right? So this is my very adorable tank. This is, if you ever wonder what Toy Cat would look like in a tank. Apparently this is the answer. But yeah, this is my adorable tank. And using this, we can actually do some real damage. If I'm not mistaken, to the city itself. So we also have helicopters on this server. Oh, that's good. So this is my helicopter. I think you'll agree it's amazing. And we can also drop bombs out for this if we choose to. But yeah, I wanted to show this server off today, and because I think it's the sort of thing that a lot of people would enjoy. It is only for Java Edition, of course. Most servers are Java Edition only, because again, the Bedrock server infrastructure just isn't there for stuff like this yet. But it's interesting if you do have Java Edition and you wanna like maybe work on a world-size project or real-life size project. That's a thing you can totally do. But I have right here on your screen definitive proof the Earth is flat. The Minecraft recreation of it, as you can see, just has a hard border at the edge here. And if I show you what that looks like in the game itself, you can see how there very much is just an end of the world. Minecraft is a floating disc in space. Get over it. We have literal proof, real. This is the most accurate proof we've ever seen. No one's ever done this in real life because they don't want you to see this. If this video is removed, then we'll know for sure that the globalists, the globists, I don't even know what the term is, they're out to get us. And yeah, it's a super interesting thing. Anyway, so yeah, this is a Minecraft server that allows you to do pretty much anything. Also, while we're debunking myths anyway, New Zealand very much is real and very much is on their map, which is how you can tell a good map from a bad map. Does it have New Zealand? Then it's a valid map. Does it not have New Zealand? Not a valid map. Also, more proof. The reason it's so hard to find New Zealand on the map is because it's right next to the very edge of the world. So I would say, tactical thing right here, is New Zealand probably has the best place on the map because the Earth is flat in Minecraft. It means we have this really bizarre thing where, because the edge of the world is right here, you have a really nice tactical corner of the map where no one can really invade you too easy. You're like forever away from everything, like thousands of blocks. And yeah, now you know. Fun fact of Toycat. Hope you all enjoyed today's video. If you want to check out the server, there'll be, I would say, a link in the description, but that you know, you can find it very easily from the start of the video, and hopefully in the description. And yeah, check out the Discord, check out those other things. I thought this was a really cool server to check out, and maybe you do agree. And if you don't agree, then let me know in a comment why not, because I'm sure that'd be appreciated too. So thank you very much for watching today's video. It's really cool when you see two of your interests collide in such a bizarre way, and as you all know, I like maps. That's why I have an entire second channel, IBX2Cat, dedicated to them. So it's weird to see that mash up with Minecraft for this very bizarre and different video, which I hope you enjoyed or had some fun with. Again, it's very different, so the format was a bit weird to work with, but I hope it was something you liked, and maybe you did, maybe you didn't. Let me know why or why not in the comments, because I'm always interested to improve and see the feedback and see what you think about these sorts of things. But for now, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.